All right, English lesson for Indians. Well, welcome back. If you are an Indian, welcome back to my channel. It's so great to have you here. Welcome back to another lesson here at Mad English TV. I really appreciate you. All right, so Indians. I love Indians. Now, actually, there are two kinds of Indians. Okay, the word Indian can have two meanings here in Canada and the US, especially. Okay, Indians could mean people from India, and that's what I'm talking about in this lesson. It's for this kind of Indian. But very often, especially in the US, you heard the word Indian used to talk about American Indians. Okay, so who are American Indians? Well, they are the indigenous peoples of North America. Sometimes people call them Indians. Now, here in Canada, that term Indian used to describe the indigenous peoples. It's kind of fallen out of grace, right? If something falls out of grace, that means I don't know, it's not good to use that. It's kind of like inappropriate. I don't know why, but anyway, that term is kind of become not politically correct. If something is politically correct, guys, my voice just cracked. I need a swig of water. So if something is politically correct, that means it's kind of acceptable. If something is not politically correct, that means it's not very acceptable. So here in Canada, the term you hear very often to talk about the indigenous peoples is First Nations. So the First Nations people or peoples. I think sometimes people use the word peoples, not just people, because they're kind of like different groups of people. So they're like peoples. Like not all the indigenous people are part of the same group. They all have different languages, different kind of like cultural stuff, and they're different peoples, right? So that's why you might hear the term First Nations peoples. Okay, so I just wanted to make that distinction. If you are an Indian and you come to Canada from India, you might hear the term Indian used actually to describe American Indians. Okay, so guys, in this lesson, I'm just going to go over some common mistakes that I hear Indian. So from here on, from here forth, when I say Indian, I'm talking about people from India. Okay, so I love Indian people, and I've talked to many Indian people in my life. Okay, so there are certain mistakes that they make when they speak English that I want to bring to your attention. If you are an Indian, stick around. I think you'll agree with me. And let me know after this lesson if you do agree with me. Smash that like. Just heard a train. There are no trains near my house. Must be building a train station. A brand new train station has come to Northeast Calgary, where I live. Okay, so some of these mistakes they're very common, and so let me know. So thank you guys for always smashing that like button, and I'd love to get your feedback down in the comments. Okay, so the first mistake is specially. Now, this is very common. It should be especially. Okay, so you might hear an Indian say something like this: "I love sweets, especially gulab jamun." Especially gulab jamun. Gulab jamun is a kind of like sweet. I love Indian sweets. If you go around here in Northeast Calgary, there are just tons and tons of Indian sweet shops, and I love it. I love Indian sweets. They're amazing. Okay, so this word is a mistake. It should be especially, right? Especially. So I mean, we can't just get rid of the e. It's part of the word, right? You have to leave it there, especially, right? So now sweets, guys. Here in Canada and the U.S., we don't use the word sweets to talk about what Indians are talking about, right? So when you see the sign that says, Indian sweet shop, that's fine. People will understand what it is, but that is more used in British English. So British English, they probably refer to these types of foods as sweets, but in Canada and the US, we call it dessert, right? Sweets. I mean, people might think sweets are like candies here, but you know, but the way Indians, what they're talking about, if you go to one of these Indian sweet shops, right, and you see these like sweets, I mean, we would call those like desserts, right? Because the only time we eat sweets, especially, well, usually in our culture, the only time we eat sweets like that is after a meal for dessert. That's part of our culture. I know in India, dessert isn't really maybe part of the culture like it is in our culture, like where you eat the dessert right after the meal. So let's say you eat a meal of like, you know, I don't know, chicken or beef or pork or whatever kind of food you eat in the meal. Right after that, you would eat a piece of cake or pie or something, usually, right? So we don't call dessert sweets. We don't really use this word in our, it's not really in our vocabulary. So if you are from India and you're coming here, just understand that in Canadian English and American English, the word sweets isn't really fit anywhere in our vocabulary. You either should say candy, which includes like chocolate, you know, whatever, Skittles, that kind of stuff, right? Candy, or dessert, which is like cake, pie, cookies, that kind of stuff. All right. So, all right, let's go to the next one. Your side. Have you ever heard that before? Your side. Very often, when I've been talking to people from India, they'll say stuff like, I'm fine. Your side. How about your side? Right. It's like a way to say, what about things with you? Right. And it kind of makes sense, right? Your side. The problem is we don't really use this word. We don't say it this way. We have another way, and that is your end. Okay, so I could ask you, and how are things on your end? On your end, right? So you could ask me, Mark, tell me about your life. How's work? How's everything going in your life? I'd say, yeah, it's going great. How about things on your end? On your end, right? So it's just a different word. Indians often say your side. It would be better in North American English to say your end, okay? Yeah, here's an example. Okay, I'm doing good, thanks. How are things on your end? Okay, that just sounds a bit more natural in English. Okay, so here's another one, reach. Reach. What's wrong with this word? Reach. Well, I'll tell you, but first I just wanted to actually mention the first time I went to India. I was in the South India. I was in the city of Bangalore for a couple of days. And, it was just weird. It was weird because I love the city. I love all of India. I love the food and everything. But the thing that always strikes me as weird when I go to India is when people treat English like it's their mother tongue. And they do. If you go to India, the upper class people speak English, and that's it. They don't speak other languages, even though they know other languages. And that's the weird thing for me. Right? These people, like English is kind of like a status symbol. And so they just refuse to speak other languages. I don't know. Anyway, the first time when I was in Bangalore, I was in a restaurant. I was just eating my delicious Indian food, and two girlfriend boyfriend sets. What do you call them? A couple. It was like a couple's date, right? Two boyfriends and their girlfriends. Anyway, they came and they sat down at a table near me, and they were talking, and they were only talking in English the whole time. I was just sitting there listening to them. They're just talking away in English, and I'm sitting here thinking, like, why are you guys speaking my language as though it's your own language? It's weird because it seems weird to us because they actually know another language probably better than English. Maybe not. If they grew up in a really, upper class home, they probably don't even know Hindi or whatever their mother tongue is. So it's a bit of a weird situation, but it's weird for us going there, hearing people, like hearing Indians treat English like it's their mother tongue, because they make mistakes like this. So that's why I want to bring this to your attention. So don't be overconfident. Like, from my perspective, languages are equal, right? There's not one language that's higher status, and you don't need to look down on other languages. So if you're an upper class Indian and you look down on other languages, just stop being dumb. It's just a dumb thing to look down on other languages, right? So take that as my humble rebuke to you upper class, arrogant Indians. Don't be so arrogant. Some of the people in India you meet are very arrogant, and they look down. There was a restaurant. I was in the city of Udaipur, India. Love that city. Beautiful place. I was in a restaurant, and the restaurant worker was just an average guy, didn't speak much English at all. Lower class kind of a person, right? Just an average worker, an average server. This rich Indian couple comes in, and they were talking to him in English, and he wasn't really understanding everything they were saying. They were asking something about the menu or something, whatever. And they refused. He spoke Hindi. I know they spoke Hindi. These people know Hindi. They just refused to speak Hindi with him. Why? I don't know why. It's like it was way beneath them. Right? So don't be so proud. Don't be so arrogant, right? If you speak Hindi and someone speaks Hindi, just speak Hindi with them. Right? You don't have anything to prove, right? Languages aren't that type of a thing where you need to show everybody that you're better than them by speaking a different language, right? So I was a bit upset when I looked at that, because they left the restaurant. They couldn't communicate with the guy, so they just left. Right? He didn't know how to answer them properly, and so they just left. And I was thinking, what an arrogant bunch of jerks, right? Refusing to speak Hindi with this guy. Anyway, another story that I have, I'm telling you my stories of India, so bear with me, and then we'll continue with the lesson. A funny situation. I was taking a train from Delhi to Agra. This was about, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 years ago. I was sitting on the train, and there was a businesswoman in front of me, in the seat in front of me, and she was just talking away to someone in English, some business. I don't know. She was going to Agra maybe on business or whatever. So she was talking in English. Suddenly, the train went through. There was a rough patch of tracks, and things got a bit louder, and it was clear they were kind of having a hard time communicating to each other. So she suddenly switched to Hindi, and then she was speaking Hindi for about maybe 5 minutes, and then the tracks got better and everything got quieter, and she switched back to English. I was like, this is insane. If you can actually speak better in Hindi, just speak Hindi. Why speak English? Why speak English? Why speak your worst? Like, if you both can speak Hindi better, which was clearly the case, right? Why? It's just insane for people to speak English when both people can speak better in a different language. It's insane. It's pagal. The word for insane in Hindi is pagal, right? Pagal. I don't know. That's crazy. Anyway, guys, instead of trying to understand Indian brains, let's continue on with the some of these mistakes. So, reach. I have noticed that Indian English speakers often make a mistake using this word. They will say stuff like, I will reach in 5 minutes. Okay, I will reach in 5 minutes. Now, what's wrong with this? Put on your thinking cap for a second. What is wrong with this? Here's a verb, right? Reach. I will reach in 5 minutes. So what's the problem? I'll teach you. Okay, so in English, there are two kinds of verbs, right? Transitive and intransitive verbs. Now, it's not important to remember these words, but there's a difference between these two words, okay? A transitive verb needs an object. It has to have an object. It's not optional, right? Like you can't say, I like, it needs something there. I like it, or I like whatever. If I ask you, hey, do you like chocolate? You can't say, I like, no, you have to say, I like it. Yeah, I like it. Do you like pizza? Yeah, I like it. I love it. It has to have the word it. You can't just say, I like, right? It has to have an object. Why? Because it's a transitive verb. Now look at this word transit. What does transit mean? It means to go somewhere, right? So you're going from the subject here, I, like is the verb, I like, and then you need the object. These are called transitive verbs. Now, if you don't need an object, like some verbs don't need an object, you can use it without an object, right? Like I work. You know, if I ask you, what do you do in your life? You could say, I work. That's fine. That's a good sentence. You don't need anything past that, right? You just need the subject and the verb. Done. That's it, right? So with this word reach, we need an object. There needs to be something here. Okay, I will reach there in 5 minutes, or I will reach the office. I will reach school. I'll reach the park. Hey, hey, when are you going to get here? I'm waiting for you at the park. You can't say I will reach in 5 minutes. You'll have to say I'll reach there in 5 minutes. I'll reach the office in sorry boss, I'm late. I'll get there in 5 minutes. I'll reach the office in 5 minutes. Okay, so you cannot say I will reach in 5 minutes. There needs the object there. Okay. Would you like to meet tomorrow to discuss? Okay, so this is another mistake. Okay, discuss. Is it transitive or intransitive? It is a transitive verb. So we need one more word after discuss, right? Would you like to meet tomorrow to discuss the problem, or to discuss the project, to discuss anything, right? Whatever you're discussing, the plan, right? Would you like to meet tomorrow to discuss our plan? To discuss this problem? To discuss our trip? Whatever you want to discuss. It has to have something there. Like if I ask you, do you want to, would you like to discuss this problem? You could say, yeah, I would like to discuss it. It, you need the word it. You can't just say, I would like to discuss. I would like to discuss it, right? Because it's a transitive verb. Okay, so again, remember, you need the direct object. Now, some verbs, they can be transitive or intransitive depending on the situation, right? There are many verbs like that. Now, this lesson isn't about transitive, intransitive, but if you want to do more research on this, just search on Google for transitive and intransitive verbs, and you will see a huge list of verbs. How to use these, you'll be able to understand them more and see how some verbs can be both transitive and intransitive. Okay, but let's go to the next one. So from last 5 months, I've heard so many Indians, when they're talking about the time period that has just passed, they use this construction from last 5 months, or from last year, from last 2 years. That's a mistake, actually. Okay, so how long have you been in Canada? Some Indians might say from last 5 months. Actually, it should be for 5 months. I've been here for 5 months. I've been in Canada for 5 months, right? That's the period that you have lived in Canada, right? Now, they might say, I came 5 months back. I came 5 months back. Now, this word back, it's a little bit informal, and we don't really say it like this in our form of English. I don't want to say Canadian and American English is the real English. Who knows what real English is? So there's nothing really wrong with, People have different dialects of English. People have different kinds of pronunciation, have all these different kinds of stuff. I get it. I just want to help you, if you come to Canada or the US, just to be able to communicate more clearly with people, right? That's the whole point of it, right? It's not like I'm saying you're wrong, go to jail. No, it's not about that. I want to help you to become more clear. And, to do that, sometimes people have to point out mistakes, right? And most people who want to learn a language, they really value this kind of stuff, right? So I hope you guys value it. I hope you don't think I'm talking down to you. Maybe I'm talking down to you by criticizing. If you're an upper class, if you're a rich Indian and you think you're better than everybody else by just speaking English, then maybe I'll try to take you down a peg. Take you down a peg means just lower you a little bit. You're way up here. You're too high. You gotta get down here. Lower you a peg. But no, honestly, guys, I'm just trying to help. All right. So if you come here to Canada, you're emailing your boss, or I just want you to have clarity of communication. That's what language is all about, right? Language is about communicating with people and having natural and clear understanding between two parties, right? So if you say I came 5 months back, it would be more natural to say I came 5 months ago. Okay, so we don't really use this word back. We use the word ago. I came 5 months ago. I've been working from home over the past 5 months. Okay, so here's another situation where a lot of Indians might say, I've been working from home from last 5 months or from past 5 months. Well, it would be better to say it this way. I've been working from home over the last 5 months. Okay, or, you can use the word during as well. What's the difference between over and during? There's not much difference. You could say, I haven't eaten any sweets, during the last couple months. I'm going on a diet. I'm on a diet. I decided I'm not going to eat any sweets, so I haven't eaten any sweets, I think it's more common to say over than during, but it's the same concept, right? So the important thing to note is that we don't say from last and then give your time period like months or years, okay? So let's go to the next one. I need to be alone for some times. I need to be alone for some times. Now, what's the problem with this? Well, this is confusing two words, okay? One word is sometime, and another word is sometimes, right? Sometimes means, you do something occasionally. It's like a synonym for occasionally, right? Sometimes I go walking. Occasionally I go walking, right? But this isn't saying that I need to be alone for some time. When I get really angry, I just need to be alone for a while, right? That's what you're trying to say here, right? I need to be alone for a while. So it should be, I need to be alone for some time, not times, right? What else was I going to say? Oh, if you could say, I need to be alone sometimes. So then you take out the word for, and then it has a different meaning, right? You could say, my personality, I do like hanging out with people, but I need to be alone sometimes too, right? That means you enjoy being alone sometimes, right? So do you understand the difference between sometime and sometimes? Just remember, sometime means a while, a little while, or for a while. Sometimes means like occasionally. I just hit my microphone. All right, so guys, that's it for just a few tips I wanted to give my friends, dear friends and subscribers from India. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've got a lot of subscribers from India, so I really appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. So for homework today, I want to do something a bit new, right? I want you to ask a question. If you have a question about what might be natural to say in English, or is this a mistake, or could I use this word in this situation? If you have any questions, guys, leave them down in the comments, because even if I don't see them right away, other people will. And you know what? The interesting thing about my channel is, for some reason, a lot of really advanced English speakers watch my videos. I don't know why, right? But a lot of them watch my videos. So, and they look at the comments too. So thank you guys for helping each other in the comments. So here's how you should do it, right? If you have a question, start your comment down there in the comment section. Start writing your comment with this word question. And you can ask, is it rude to say, or is this how I say this in English? Or whatever your question is about English, right? Leave it with the word question. And then some of my subscribers, my wonderful subscribers who speak English like fluently, like a native speaker, they will see your question. Then they can see, oh, someone has a question, right? That's why if you leave your comment with starting with the word question, then they can see it in the comment section, okay? And then dive in there for all my, really seasoned subscribers. Dive in there and please help people out if they need help. So guys, we need each other in life, right? If you have questions, really there's no such thing as a stupid question. If it's a real question that you want to know, ask it. Maybe you don't know the difference between there, and there. So you have to learn somewhere, right? Ask your questions down there in the comments. And not just for this video, for all my videos. Anytime you want to ask a question, start with this word question, and then that way I will see it easier when I'm looking through the comments, or my other subscribers who speak English very, very well, they will see it and they'll help you out. So guys, I want my place, my community here to be a community that helps each other out, to learn English and also to help my throat. Is this a community that will help my throat? I don't know, but I better take a swig of water and then I'll sign off, guys. So there it is, guys. And again, I really appreciate all my subscribers. And today I want to say a special thank you to my Indian subscribers and friends, just for, being awesome. I really love India. I've been there a couple of times. Hope to go back. I love so many things about India. So here's your tips. Hope you appreciate them. Again, smash like. I really appreciate it if it did help you. Any of these things did help you. And don't say specially, especially. Remember that little E. Anyway, guys, as always, I love you so much. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and I'll see you over, as always, in the next episode of Mad English TV. Take care.